Well, good morning. It's morning here in the Pennsylvania region of Altoona, and I'm doing the Juanita shops this morning. Now, I'm not referring to the service of Juanita shops. I just completed that, and unfortunately, that was kind of a disappointment. So I built my own scenario in Train Sim World 3 to do this, to service the shops. But today's topic is Train Sim World 4. I just got done watching the released video that came out a couple weeks before the September 26, 2023 release of Train Sim World 4. A video came out on free roam and a scenario planner. And I got to tell you, there was a lot that I liked, that I heard, and I was surprised about, I'm happy about, and some things I don't know, and some things I'm not so happy about. But we'll talk about all that in Train Sim World 4. But in the meantime, we are in Train Sim World 3. So I can, have something that we can look at and do while we're discussing Train Sim World 4. Now, Train Sim World 3, the scenario planner, in Train Sim World 3, the service for Juanita shops basically gets you going back and forth the parallel tracks in the yard, moving 5 cars at a time, and all you do is go back and forth as you are told to do. Kind of reminds me of when your papa bought you a toy when you were a kid, and then you find that whether it was a toy train or a radio control plane or something, you find that you're not to touch it. He's going to play with it, and then he'll let you run it once in a while. It's so frustrating. That's how I feel about the services for switching in Train Sim World 3. They're telling you to go forward, go back, go forward, go back. You're going to hook up, unhook, go forward, go back, hook up, unhook, go forward, go back. And there's no imagination on your part. There's no thought. And that's basically what you do. Now, this is the yard in Altoona, and if you see that all that's done in this area here, but the shops are all over here. I mean, this is just loaded with shops. It is all yard shops, but it's fantastic. It's got a lot of places for you to spot trains and switch out trains, which you can't get access to in the normal scenarios. In fact, I tried in timetable mode. But today, I built my own scenario and scenario planner in Train Sim World 3, and we're going to do just that. We're going to switch out some cars in this area 3. Now, here. But I can't go past these lights. Well, I can go past this one, but there's no way to get into the shop area from this area here without backing up. So I'm going to back up, go past these points, and then I can move cars into the shops, and that's what we'll do. But enough of that. You know what I'm doing in Train Sim World 3, but I won't talk about that. I want to talk to you about free roam, what I've learned in Train Sim World 4. So let's get going with that. One of the things, one more thing about Train Sim World 3. In Scenario Planner Train Sim World 3, you're very limited. I chose to build a scenario with the Norfolk Southern SD40, locomotive, diesel locomotive. And what I get is I get hoppers, and I get a single commodity, all hoppers and all center beams, and open hoppers and that kind of thing. But look, in order for me to get mixed freight like this, that's not all one commodity, I had to do a Canadian National locomotive. And so that's why I got the Canadian National locomotive, so I can come down here and switch out these cars with the mixed freight and put, different cars in the back in the shops. Okay, with all that said, on to Train Sim World 4. I gotta tell you, after listening to what they said about free roam, I was surprised. And now I'm quite excited. Free roam is gonna be wonderful. It's gonna make all the difference, and it's just gonna be awesome. But I still got some questions and some critiques about where we're going with that. So the free roam, you access it, enter it by going into the walking mode. So right now I'm in the engineer seat, so I'm not walking, but gotta cut these things in first. Boy, it is hard to think about what you're doing and talk about something else at the same time. Get up to 90 pounds of pressure, and then we can bail off and back up some. So yeah, the free roam mode, there's actually two ways to in the Train Sim World 4 to work in free roam mode. One, you go into walking mode and just start putting trains on the track anywhere you want. So that's one way. And I find that to be awesome, and that you could just find the place you want to be, walk there, and hit the tab key. Now, if I hit the tab key while I'm in the engineer seat, you know, you got the signal thing here, but if you're a passenger train, you get to open and close the doors, that kind of thing. But in order to get the free roam mode, you hit the tab key and it will bring up the dispatch for planting. Well, actually, it brings up the ability to plant a locomotive, and then once you plant a locomotive, you can plant cars, and then you can do a dispatch. The cool thing about it is, I think you can choose a locomotive just like in Scenario Planner that has a whole bunch of cars already on it. That's really the simplest way to do it. In fact, you may want to just find the cars you want and not worry about what locomotive it is. And if you do that, then you can, in the free roam mode, once you got the cars where you want, a whole group of them, this is kind of run around cheat. Then you can delete the locomotive and put a single locomotive of the type you want, and couple up to the group of cars, and you can go from there. The other way of doing it is you go into a service mode of any type or timetable. To me, it would make sense to be in the timetable. This is different from the first method, which is you just go into walking mode. It's a clean slate. There's no cars, there's nothing out there. You go out to where you want, you walk, you hit the tab key, and then you start placing your locomotive and cars, and then you drive freely wherever you want. The other way is what I'm talking about now, is using the timetable, and by using the timetable, you can have instead of a static environment, you can have a complete environment with AI trains coming and going, already dispatched throughout the day. You choose your time, you choose your weather. Which you can't do in the other, well, yeah, I guess you could, but you're going to choose your time of day, and you're going to choose your weather, and you're going to choose your timetable, and it's going to have all of the cars, AI car trains coming and going. That's fantastic, and then you can go into walking mode, and you can actually delete one of the trains and put your own train in there, or just go over to another track and put your train in there. What I find fascinating about this is the very thing I worried about when I heard about it was, wow, if I'm in free roam, it's going to be annoying, because every time I come to a single, I'm going to have to go and figure out how to change a path and switch to single, and then go to the next step instead of being free to go where I want. Well, that's not necessarily true. In fact, it's from what I can see, instead of that being annoying, it's going to be really nice. It's going to be a benefit, because now in this free roam mode, I'm going to be able to dispatch. I'm going to be able to go into the 9 key, look at this stuff, and then choose a path anywhere down the line, and it'll open up those blocks and singles, all dependent on, of course, what else is going on. But it'll eventually open up those blocks once an AI train makes its way through. I was very impressed with that, because even if your path has got an AI train going through it, it'll eventually let that go through, and eventually let you go through, and the signals will change. This is fabulous. This is kind of better than I thought, and I could see just enjoying this most often with the timetable mode and setting my own train in it. So I was surprised by that, how nice this will be. And if it's that nice in practice, I'm gonna end up loving this game, because you can do this on any route. That was one of my questions. Can I do this on this route? This route I'm in right now, which is a Train Sim World 3 route. Would I be able to use free roam mode, even though it's a new feature to Train Sim World 4? Yes. I'm going to be able to do this on this route or any of my old routes, even Train Sim World 2 routes, I believe. Now, they did say there may be some difficulties with singles on the older routes, but we'll have to see how that plays out. That wouldn't matter for free roam and a clean slate, which is all I ever wanted. But now I'm thinking I'm gonna even more so like the free roam from a timetable that has a living route with trains coming and going, and me being part of that. So I'm very happy about this. This is all good news. This is really what I want to do, and looking forward to it. But now that I can dispatch, that changes everything too. It's going to allow me to dispatch. Now, one of the things I found out from this is, right now, if you look at the map, you don't know what direction these signals are. And in the new scenario planner editor, they changed that so it's directional. I mean, you could see on the map which direction that signal's going. But I don't think that's going to be out yet in the release on the 26th. I think that's a future editor thing. So, but that's good. That's a good thing to do, and that's exciting to hear. The other awesome thing about free roam now that we'll be getting is, you're going to be able to mix road names. So I'm going to be able to lay down a locomotive. I'm going to be able to lay down any car I want. Now, I don't plan to do off the rails in the sense that I can mix British cars with American cars. I don't want to be stupid or silly. I shouldn't say stupid. It's not stupid. That could be fun. So, but I don't initially plan on being silly that way. But I do want to mix road names. So I want to be able to mix things up and use off the rails to do it, and you can. And so the only limitation I understand right now is I'm going to have to lay down the mixed cars one at a time and then couple up to them. So that's something they're working on. That's another thing that they'll be working on to help us in the future, where we'll have a planner that could build consist, and and instead of doing it one at a time. So but right now I'm happy to go ahead and be able to mix road names and place them on the track one at a time for the cars, or if you prefer wagons. Gonna put it in neutral. Gotta turn off the generator. Make sure the independent is all the way up, and then I can get out. I'm gonna step out for a minute, guys. One of the things I like about these shops is there's so many doors and places you can spot cars. I mean, it's just awesome where you can spot cars. So, I'm just thinking what I want to do. Let's move these hoppers and just put them down in here. So how many of them are there? 4 of them. Now you don't really have to walk, and I'll show you that. I want to talk about scenario planner, but I'm thinking if there's anything else. Oh yeah, there is. There is some free roam stuff I'm not sure about. They're unanswered questions. Now let me show you this. You could be sitting in the seat, and you can go into the 8 key. 8 key is a free way to, or the 3 key. Both of these work well. People familiar with Train Simulator Classic are very familiar with the 8 key. So you can go like that, and then we can move these hoppers out. So what we want to do, here, that's set the right way. We want to go this way. And we want to change this one up. Okay, that sets us up. Alright, so my mind was back to Train Sim World 3 here, switching out these cars, and so I think, oh yeah, there is, yeah, I want to talk about a question I have. Do you have to spawn a train in free roam mode? Can you not just get up out of your seat? For example, let's get in our seat here. Oh, no wonder I'm not going anywhere. I gotta turn everything back on. Silly me. Now we should go. Now what I mean by that is, can I get into any available locomotive in the timetable, and from that locomotive go into free roam mode simply by hitting the E key, getting out of my seat, and then hitting tab and bringing up free roam, and then setting a path for the locomotive I'm in, instead of spawning a new locomotive with new cars. They didn't talk anything about that. I mean, that would be awesome. Then you can use a timetable or any service locomotive in the existing train and be a dispatch and set your own path without having to spawn and build a whole new train. Wouldn't that be great? I don't know, that may be a possibility, but they hadn't even thought about it, or they thought about it and it can't be done, but they didn't talk about that. So if you're not understanding me, in Train Sim World 4, if you're in a timetable and you're running a train and you want to change the signals and you want to change the path and you want to move somewhere else, you can go into free roam mode. But do you have to get up, get out, and build a whole new train on a different track? Why not just get up like this, hit the tab key, and then set a path? Can that be done? That would be fabulous. Oh, I'd like to try that. I really would love to try that and see if that could be done. And that way I don't have to build any trains unnecessarily, if I like what's available already. Now, I mean, I know that a lot of us want to build our own stuff. Of course, I do too, because I'm going to like it better if I put my own cars out there and choose my own locomotive. But there's times that, you know, Train Sim World does offer us in our timetable routes of trains that we like, that we want to continue to use. So if I can do that, that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. One of the things I like about the playability of Train Sim World is that I can, using the 3 key, hang on the back here and as a conductor would, and watch, you know, where I'm at. So, and then I can jump off here, do the switch. So hopefully I think you guys understand what I'm talking about. So that's a question I have, and it's a big question because, oh my, free roam right now has got me excited. It's doing more than I thought it would be able to do. It's doing it on the old routes. It doesn't make the old routes any better. Well, it does, because it gives us availability to places that we didn't have access to before. But it doesn't. You know, the old routes are what they are, and you know, if an old route has some spots like this where you can spot cars at, you know, I should say it has some buildings and industry and doors and areas where you can spot cars out, that's fabulous, because then you can take advantage of this. You know, you couldn't do this in any of the timetable services we currently have available in Horseshoe Curve, other than build your own scenario like I just did. But and this is one of the reasons, like, that I'm such a big fan of Train Sim World to begin with, from the beginning to now, is this ability to ride on a train. I went handles off on that one. Alright, so let's talk Scenario Planner. Scenario Planner is the next topic they talked about, and if I really wanted to be astute, I'd come here and put the brake on. By the way, this is something I learned. You know, applying the brake on a car does nothing. Because from what I understand, when a car is in motion, the physics are available and the physics are in motion. When a car is static, once the car is no longer in motion, there's no longer any physics. So even if you're on a hill, you won't roll anywhere if the car is already placed statically there. That's kind of unfortunate, but that's my understanding of the game right now. That's why doing the hump yard stuff is very difficult. Alright, so we're going to go forward. Scenario Planner. Let's talk about that before I get too much into this Train Sim World 3 game. There's one other thing about free roam that it doesn't allow you to change the time. Now, if you go into timetable mode, you can then enter into free roam. In fact, you can go into walking mode or timetable mode for a particular locomotive. You're entering into that time of day. But once you're at that time of day, you can no longer change the time. You're in that time of day. So that means there's no career mode to be had. You can't do a career. I can't stop and do some local switching like this, or run a passenger up a line and then finish the day and then go into a yard office or any office and say, okay, I'm coming back to work the next day, 12 hours later. there's no way to change the time of day, so there's no career. You only play in the day that you're in, and that's the way it's always been, and that's always been a frustration to me. Every other, simulator, whether it's American Truck Simulator, European Truck Simulator, they all have, even Fernbus has an office you go into, or you can change, or you can go rest for a certain amount of time, and you continue your play from where you left off. And of course you can save here. I mean, that's one of the things about free roam that was asked that I didn't say anything about, is yes, from what I've been told, if you're in free roam and you're playing something, you can save it and come back in, as long as you don't override it by playing a timetable. That's different. All right, continuing on with Scenario Planner. Oh, well, no, there is another topic that was not addressed, and I'd like an answer to, but I think I know the answer. In free roam, you can select, just like you can now in Scenario Planner, but in free roam you can select your cars loaded or unloaded. But what if you want to spot a loaded car, and then switch it out later, unloaded? I guess it don't matter if it's, if you don't have a career mode anyway. But, there's no, in Train Simulator Classic, there's a way you can load cars and unload cars on the fly. There's no way to do this on the fly. I think you would have to, in free roam, take a loaded car, remove it, and add the same car back, unloaded. That would be a workaround, but it's very sloppy. So we still don't have a way to load and unload cars in free roam. You don't want to slam when the knuckles locked, that's for sure. Alright, I think now I can talk about I can talk about Scenario Planner. Very good. Where do we want to go next? Guess it don't really matter. We take these hoppers. Alright, let's talk about Scenario Planner for a minute. Get our mind off this game. Scenario Planner in Train Sim World 4 was not that big of a surprise or awesomeness that I hoped it would be. There are 3 or 4 very minor tweaks to it that's going to cumulatively make it better, but it's still limited. It was very limited before. As you can see, I'm running a Canadian National train in Pennsylvania, and it's still pretty limited, but it's going to be able to change the start time from the AI for the AI trains, from the start time when you want to start your game. So that's one of the minor tweaks. So that may be a big thing for some of us. I think it's actually going to be a big thing for me, because I had struggled with that before. But is it that significant for a scenario plan? Well, it's significant, but it's not exciting. Maybe I should put it that way. I'm not that excited about that. That tweak should have been a regular upgrade anyway. Why wasn't it there to begin with? The weather. Well, that's significant. If you watch my scenario planner thing from a year or so ago on how to use scenario planner and the workarounds for Train Sim World 3 scenario planner, one of the workarounds was how to get your particular scenario with any weather you want. Right now I got clear skies and sunny, and I have not, I can't change that unless I use my workaround. So, so to be honest with you, that's going to be part of it. And so that's an awesome tweak. That's good. I don't know if it's exciting. It's certainly, definitely a good thing, and it's going to make things much better, and it should have been there. And then the topic of portals. Well, unfortunately for me, I'm ignorant. I don't know what a portal is. I don't know what they're talking about. If they're going to have a presentation about a topic, I don't know why they assume that I'm brilliant and I know what these things that they're talking about are. I mean, not that they have to go give us a training session, but just kind of describe what you're talking about quickly. What I think they're talking about is when you set up a path for AI trains in Scenario Planner, they're going to spawn out of a portal, and that's an invisible place that's somewhere spotted by the route builders somewhere on the track, and there's probably multiple portals that the trains spawn out of, and then if they go past their designation, they will despawn when they hit an exit from the portal on the other side. That's what I think it is. So certainly comment and set me straight on that, because I don't know. I don't know what they are, but they're going to have portals. I think that if it is what I think it is, the benefit of that is instead of setting a path to, and this was a frustration, and so this kind of makes sense to me. If I set a path from Altoona to Johnstown, I got to go from the Amtrak station in Altoona to the Amtrak station in Johnstown, and then the stinking train, once you hit the destination, it stops everything. But if I can go past Johnstown Amtrak station into a portal, some make-believe spot out way down the road, or 500 to 1,000 feet down the road, then that would be beneficial. And so I think that's what they're talking about, and it also allows trains coming and going and extending your timetable. But I don't know. I really don't know what I'm talking about. I didn't know what they were talking about, but that's something new for the new scenario planner. Not a lot of excitement there for the scenario planner. I'm so excited about free roam, I don't even know how much scenario planning I will do in the future. I was using scenario planner like I am today as a workaround, so I can freely roam around these shops, So to me, not a lot of excitement in the scenario planner in my mind, but it is good that they're upgrading a few of those minor things, and it's going to make that so much better for those that are going to spend quite a bit of time doing stuff in that. What I was kind of disappointed about is the question about specific ways to add stops. Now, I like passenger trains, but this is more of a but I spend most of my time enjoying it with freight trains. And well, I don't know, maybe I'm split. I do enjoy passenger runs too. One of the things the current scenario planner does or doesn't do is you really can't set up in your task the specific times that you're going to be stopping at stations. So that's still the case. If I understood what they were talking about, that'd still be the case. So this went quite a bit longer than I hoped it would be, but you can see, if I get out here, how I am excited about being able to spot trains all through these shops. You know, which we really couldn't have done before. So I am excited about the future, but not so excited about Scenario Planner. But you know, it's one of those things. I may get into using the Scenario Planner and saying, wait a minute, this is nice. This is much better. But until I start using it and start to feeling the improvements and being beneficial, at this moment I'm happy for the Scenario Planner changes, but not that excited. I'm happy about the free roam changes and am very excited and can't wait. I mean, just can't wait to play the game the way I've been wanting to play it since 5 years ago, whenever this game first came out. To be free, to really be free and do what I want. So, man, I'm excited about that. Now, it's a matter of getting routes that have more of these places to spot trains. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the new free roam and the new Scenario Planner. And I went a little long, but I think that's about all I got to say, and I'll catch you next time.